So today we're talking about the importance of foot pressure when it comes to the Olympic lifts. Now, the foot is often overlooked, and it's one of the most important parts of our body when it comes to the Olympic lifts. For the main reason, all the force is transferring through it. Our legs are driving into the floor. Our foot is that key connection between our body and the force we're creating and the object that's not moving, which is the ground, to make the weight that we're trying to pick up move. So if our foot pressure is off, we're not able to transfer as much force, and our foot is significant when it comes to how our pelvis and our lower back lock in place, which allows us to transfer a lot more weight, a lot more force when we get to that power position to drive on the bar. This is why the foot's important. So let's get into what we can do about it. So the first thing we can do to create good foot pressure is to open our feet up before we're putting our weightlifting shoes on if we're using them. Now, this is a step that's often overlooked by all athletes, but you realize we shove our foot into shoes and we're typically wearing socks, they're bound up and we're in them all day. You can see that our feet start to get tight from a standpoint that we want to create movement in the bones of the foot. So we want to open it up. And it's simple. It can take under 2 minutes. You do it when you're switching shoes, and I guarantee you're going to be able to apply more force to the ground, and there's going to be less tweaks and silliness that happen to you, whether you realize it or not. The second thing we can do for good foot pressure is understand the basics of good foot activation. Now, you may have heard the term out there, the tripod. We talk about this as 3 points in our foot: the base of the big toe, base of pinky toe, and our heel. These 3 points is where we want to create pressure to have good foot activation. An easy way to walk you through this is if you standing and you unlock your knees, I want you to lean back, feel most of your weight towards your heels. Now come forward, feel most of your weight towards the base of the big toe. Now come back to the middle and feel equal pressure between both the base of the big toe and the heel. Now from that point, keeping equal pressure between the base of the big toe and the heel, I want you to start to push your knees out and feel pressure behind the pinky toe start to increase while maintaining that base of the big toe. What you're going to feel is your glutes are going to turn on. And if they turn on, this is a very good sign. If they're not turning on, there's a big opportunity here. And the third thing we can do for good foot pressure when it comes to the Olympic lifts is building our ability to maintain good foot pressure throughout the movement. Now, this is where a lot of athletes freak out because they're like, wow, that's a lot to think about. And I agree, you shouldn't be thinking about your foot pressure as you're trying to move through an Olympic lift. What we want to do is we want to build up good foot strength, good foot activation outside of the Olympic lifts to then bring it into the Olympic lifts. Now, when we're warming up with our lighter weights as we're learning this, we can bring some thought to the foot, we can bring some thought to the activation, especially when we're getting set up to the bar. So when we're getting set up to the bar, this is the time to get that foot activation active and get down and set to the bar while having active foot pressure to push. Now, the kicker here to build this up is my next point. And my final point, point number 4 for good foot pressure, is building this up using auxiliary movements. Like I said, we don't want to be focused on this in the middle of our lift. Our lift's going to be junk if we're always hyper-focused on one thing that we're trying to think about. What we need to do is we need to build this up outside of the Olympic lifts, so when we're doing the Olympic lifts, our nervous system is like, yeah, this is what I use to push. This is what I know. Now, here's the kicker. Any auxiliary movement you do is an opportunity to work good foot pressure. From squats, from deadlifts, these slower movements, all the way to, say, a bent over row, where you're standing there. A lot of people go, bent over row to think about my feet. You're standing. Every moment's an opportunity to think about how your feet are set, how they're active, and what you're doing. Even in the middle of your day, when you're standing, are your legs locked? Are you leaning to one side? Or are your knees unlocked slightly? And are your feet activated? Can you feel your glute when you're just standing in the day? These are all opportunities to build this up, and I encourage all athletes in any of our accessories, you better be thinking about your foot pressure if your foot's flat to the floor and it's an opportunity for it, or we're going to be on you. We're going to be on you quick. And that's the basics of foot pressure when it comes to the Olympic lifts. Now, here's the thing. A lot of athletes give me reasons why not to do this. This is super simple. There's all these opportunities. I said you could build it up. It's going to give you more force into the ground. It's going to give you a stronger drive at the hip, and it's going to protect your pelvis and lower back from silly tweaks. Why wouldn't you do it? Don't be like those other athletes. Do this. Now here's the kicker. If you want to know more foundational stuff like this that's going to make you lift more, it's going to make you have longer longevity in the sport, and ultimately reach your goals, check out our sustainable lifting method. It's a lot of the foundational basics that a lot of people miss, but you could call it advanced because it seems advanced to other people. Maybe we just use the language that this is foundational because you should have learned it at the beginning. Now, here's the kicker. We got new videos coming out each week, so make sure you subscribe. If this helped you, I think it did, share it forward, pay it forward to a friend, and hit that thumbs up button. It truly helps us. Until next time.